Okay, another good week of preparation, and we're anxious to get back out there. Obviously, got another day of work tomorrow, but players are excited. Had a good week of preparation, and ready to get back home and play a night game against the SEC East opponent. So big game, and guys are excited, ready to go.
Will, the topic of conversation today.
Well, what do you want to know, John? You want me to give you every little detail? You want me to? Okay.
How many plays he's going to play?
You want to just go tell South Carolina, or I have no news. I have nobody. My policy is always, if somebody's out, I'll tell you. I don't have anybody out. So if I had somebody out, I'd tell you.
About that, though, that when the sports betting stuff became more prominent, there was talk that maybe injury reports were going to be a part of this for college coaches, and that never happened. What do you think about that part of this and information?
I'm good with that.
Yeah.
I really am. As long as everybody's standard, I'm good with that. As you know, I mean, I'm pretty open. I'm probably more open than most people, I'd say, and because I feel like things get out anyway. Sometimes, true, sometimes not, and whatever. So, but I would be all for that. Being, just having it standardized, and much like the NFL, and so if somebody's out, they're out. And go down the tiers they have from there. So. I mean, today's Thursday. I don't know anybody that can predict the future. If somebody walks off a curb, or gets, falls off a bike, or their scooters. You know what I mean? So things happen. But.
Yeah, more confidence is huge in the kicking game. How have Matt and Chance responded this week?
Really good, really good. They hit it really solid today, and we had a good week. And I think it's important to them. I mean, they've been very consistent through the years, and they work hard. And they've worked hard this week. And it's not like they're fragile guys that haven't been around or anything. They've been around for some years, and so I expect them to go out there and kick it very well. And just because they've been around and have a lot of confidence, don't mean that things don't happen in games. As I mentioned after the last games, sure. I mean, if somebody, if you've ever played golf, you hit a bad golf shot, sometimes it's in your mind the next, shot too. So I'm not saying they're immune to anything, but they're experienced, they've been around, they're good players, and they do their jobs well. We never talk about them, do we? I mean, we never talk about snappers, holders, or kickers until something happens. And then we talk about it. Then it's a special teams issue.
Going into it.
Don't worry about how good we've done on it. I mean, our kickoff returns #1 in the country, but nobody, don't worry, no, just brush that off.
Going into a game with South Carolina, do you talk about special teams a little more just in general because of Beamer, what they like?
For sure. I mean, you do. You have to make sure you're up your game. Yeah, Shane's very good, and it's extremely important to him with his background, and so you better be on point with Shane and with everybody. But in particular this game, I'd say make sure, you got to be locked in and ready to go. Challenge our guys.
Yeah, he likes to do a lot of different things.
He does.
Fake punts and stuff like that.
Well, yeah.
Can you prepare for that, or not?
Yeah, of course you can. And you could be in some safer calls, and pick your spots and mix it up a little bit and not be predictable. You have to be against guys like that. And I equate that to some of the great offensive minds you've played over the years. When you're playing the Steve Spurriers, and being like, you just got to be very conscientious of things you're doing. And I think of that. I think with South Carolina, with Shane's background, and I'm sure the importance that he puts on it, and making sure you're aware of what you're doing and giving different looks, and just being very sound and being and playing hard.
You guys had to focus on getting those 5 starting offensive linemen as many reps as you can together. But how's that second group coming along, just in what they can do?
Yeah, I think we're constantly trying to get more and more depth and bring those guys along. I think they're not far off from playing, and we'll see what happens in this game. We're prepared to mix up a couple different combinations and get some guys some work. So we'll see where it goes.
Like when you say you don't have anybody who's out right now, is there still a chance for JJ then and Jack West that both those guys have an opportunity possibly?
Well, that's what I said. So yeah.
Mark, as
Jack West is highly doubtful. So yeah.
Mark, as the season progresses, are you able to focus specifically on the other team a little bit more? I know at the beginning of the year you're kind of keeping your house in order, and now as you know a little bit more about these other teams, more film, and
yeah, I think that's fair. I think early on you got to be prepared for everything, and your team is so used to just playing against each other. At least now you have some different styles, different offenses, and more experience. The players have more experience in that game environment, especially youngsters, and seeing different looks than they're used to seeing in practice. So I think it helps, but that's the same with everybody. Everybody has that same advantage.
Mark, you said Monday that Justin Rogers played really well, and Brad echoed that yesterday. Have you seen him just coming along, or how is his progression?
I thought it was really important last week with Josiah not being able to play and him really playing that amount of snaps in a tempo offense to play that hard, and I think it was good. They had a couple of long play drives, but I think you play in Ole Miss, they want chunks too, and we were able to limit that to some extent, but they did have some longer drives, but they were still able to maintain play at a high level, so that's a good sign.
Mark, we've got several of these younger coaches like Shane. I'm not saying that you're old or anything like that.
Well, I can say that for you.
Yeah, but these guys, I was listening to Shane talk about his relationship with his dad, and I was just wondering, do you have like a go-to person that you consult for not just football advice, but life advice?
Well, I think I'm blessed to have many people that I can consult with that way. Certainly some older brothers, and in the experience that I was taught through my dad and through my brothers, and the core of kind of who I am, I lean on. I think I think you're as I always say, when you're in a learning environment, you constantly learn and try to get better. But I am old, been around here 10 years, so I think my instincts and my gut and my own intuition, I kind of lean on quite a bit as well.
Mark, separate from Will's status, how do you just feel about your backup quarterbacks at the moment? How those guys progress?
I feel good. I feel like, you never know until you get into a game, until they're pressed into that situation. I think you could say that about a lot of players, but I think it's very real with quarterbacks, with all they have to do. You may see somebody that looks just absolutely gorgeous in 7-on-7, or and just been throwing on air and things, and then when all the moving pieces happen, I think that's when you get a true indicator on what you have at quarterback.
Everybody good?